If you had any doubts that Base was not going to just flip Solana, but become the #1 largest chain in the world, they've been removed. And that is the exact quote from the founder of Aerodrome. He goes by Wagme Alexander on the line. We all gonna make it, right? We all gonna make it. But listen, on today's video, we're gonna dive into some of the news and updates and all the metrics of one of my favorite blockchain platforms to use by the name of Aerodrome. So before we begin, check out this video where he is speaking with Jesse Pollock, the founder of the Base blockchain.
I think if you had any doubts that Base was not going to just flip Solana, but become the #1 largest chain in the world, they've been removed. And I've got a few reasons for that. One is a token means billions of dollars of economic stimulus flowing into the Base ecosystem. And that means a lot for builders and users. The second thing is that this allows Base to finally achieve its vision of being a truly decentralized network. And I think if you combine that with Base's technical and product leadership and Coinbase's ability to distribute the Base economy to over 100 million users, you have the makings of not just, I think, the #1 chain globally, but the hub of an on-chain economy that's poised to onboard 10% of global GDP in the next 5 years.
If that's not clear enough, if you had any doubts that the Base ecosystem was not just going to flip Solana, but become the #1 chain in the world, they've been removed. And I'm telling you, Aerodrome, backed by Coinbase, backed by the Base blockchain, and is actually doing major numbers on a daily basis. Let's get to it. So here's a post by River. This is very interesting. So it says, Aerodrome is the largest trading and liquidity marketplace on Base, holding 589 million in total value locked and generating 21 billion in 30-day volume. 21 billion, y'all. It functions as Base's central liquidity hub where 100% of protocol revenue is redirected to holders of vAero, giving them governance rights and yield from protocol activity. Then they talk about their integration. This is all facts. Like, we'll talk about this more towards the end of the video, but if you stake your Aero on the Aerodrome platform, right? Flights, Aero, right? You get vAero, which allows you to vote and to get some of the revenue from the protocol. Easy and simple. All-time volume surges past 300 billion. It took 15 months for Aerodrome to reach its first 100 billion in volume. It only took 10 months to triple it. Burner zone, we're going to Mach 1. Everything's an airplane jet reference. So here it is. When it launched, 100 billion in volume, then you got 200 billion in way less of the time. The Aerodrome PGF is initiating a programmatic buyback model. I like to hear that. The model scales deployment based on market conditions, concentrating resources when it matters most. All tokens acquired will be locked, compounded long-term alignment. The first programmatic buyback has been completed, 400,000 worth of Aerodrome. Acquired and locked, right? So they're acquiring it, then they're locking it, so they're turning it into vAero and staking it on the platform. What that does is takes supply off of the market, but also, like the big banks, it shows you that they value their own stock, essentially. They value their own crypto, rightfully. And I like tokens, as I always talk about on this channel, Pin Crypto. I like tokens that do buybacks. I like tokens that share revenue. And this is one of those plays in the game. Highlights from the last week. Aerodrome volume breaks all-time highs. Aero joins the Grayscale DeFi fund. I like that. They're a part of the Grayscale DeFi fund. Aerodrome distributes 35 million to voters. Then you can launch on Aerodrome and reach millions. The community launch is back. So that is some important stuff. And then they show you 1.75 billion, 70% more than the competitors. That's in 24-hour volume, something crazy. And then this one here, Institutional grade trading and custody of Arrow is now available via Grayscale, enabling a secure, compliant solution for investors at scale. Grayscale's popping, don't fade. Now, I think this is one of the most important updates that has happened recently. So remember, you got Coinbase backing the Base blockchain, which is backing Aerodrome. So you got a blockchain, a decentralized exchange working with the centralized exchange, Coinbase, the biggest one in the United States. So this is the founder of Base. He says, if a centralized exchange is trying to charge you 9% of your token supply to list on them, you should instead do a permissionless listing on Aerodrome and Coinbase for free. Pay 9% of your token supply or launch on Aerodrome and automatically get listed on Coinbase. Coinbase, remember, they put that new feature in where straight from the Coinbase app, you can buy tokens that are on the Aerodrome platform for free. That's interesting. Then leverage Spindle to spend a small fraction of that to acquire the highest value holders possible. And then they say, hey, use this to real attribution and growth metrics for Web3. We're building tools to make 1 billion people onto the new internet, to get 1 billion people onto the new internet. Now let's go to the platform. So when we were talking about V-Arrow, right? So you stake, rather you lock, right? Your Aerodrome, you receive V-Arrow, right? So you got a lock here. You can lock it. I got some locked up for 3 years, right? You can lock for a while if you want, or less. But the longer you lock, see, it says gain greater voting power and higher rewards by locking more tokens for longer. Okay. So then you go to vote. You have all these different liquidity pools you can select for voting, right? And if you want to learn more, just click the question mark button and then you go boom. So this first one is most important. V-Arrow holders decide which liquidity pools receive Arrow emissions. And that's how the Arrow hits the market. In return, voters receive 100% of the trading fees and bribes collected from the liquidity pool they vote for. Literally bribes, right? They's like, hey, send the rewards and stuff to my pool for more people go to it, and they'll incentivize that. And then, so if you click here, I have Arrow locked and I have votes that I'm going to vote on. So wrapped ETH and Coinbase Bitcoin on a concentrated volatility pool gives you 42% APR. The wrapped ETH and USDC, these are like my two favorite pools other than Aerodrome USDC. This one gives you 37%. Not bad for just holding and collecting money weekly, right? And then we have the price action right here, the weekly chart. I have the weekly chart pulled up. Aerodrome went crazy from initial in February, went up to about 240, pulled back up to about 240 in December, pulled back. So one can say, you know, the new bottom is essentially, we'll say here, we'll go about here. Why? Because that was when those wicks of 2024 July happened, and then about April you fought in this range to about 40 cents. So we've been on the uptrend and then we just pulled back. What we want to see is these highs here that I have in a trend line broken, right? So then we have a level of liquidity, which we're at about right now, slightly under, which is about 85 cents to make it an easy number. Got to get back above 85 cents. It spent all its time in August above 85 cents, so no problem. Then the next level I have a line here at $1.40. We want to see these levels here broken. And then if those levels are broken, obviously the next levels would be where these highs were, about 230, 240, we'll say, where these wicks went. And then from there, again, depending on what happens in the overall macro market, Aerodrome could go parabolic. I think this could easily be a $10 billion token. Definitely $10 billion token, which means market cap wise, as I said, 10 billion. Price wise, I mean, we can see a $7, $8 Aerodrome. I'm definitely seeing that's a possibility. And I know it might sound crazy, And this could happen, in a year or two from now. But as long as Aerodrome is doing what it's doing, building on Coinbase, being that central hub, that's what we're looking is off the chart. But again, I'm thinking an $8 Aerodrome in the near future. By end of year, definitely I'm seeing, if we get the proper all season, $2 to $3 Aerodrome easy. And if we don't, Aerodrome could just trend in this range here, slightly under $2 for another year or so. We'll see what happens. We're gonna keep y'all updated, keep you informed about good gems that I'm spotting in the cryptocurrency industry. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Leave any suggestions of cryptos you want me to cover, and I'll get to you on the next video, y'all. Peace.
Passive income. Gold in my dental. Thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals. Told my girl it was simple.